Hey, welcome to the Relentless Positivity Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Martin. I've got a guest today that, hey, if you're a parent of a 10 to 14-year-old, you're going to need this guy. And if you're not there yet, if you're younger than that, you're going to eventually need him right here. Because what he does, he works with the parents in that crucial age, that 10 to 14-year-old, where they're kind of doing that first identity breaking. It's what he calls it. And I think that's such a cool way to look at it. He's a communication coach. He works with the parents to help them out. Because, man, hey, this stuff doesn't come with a book. And so Marcus is what he do. He's out there helping those parents get through this rough phase. Marcus, thanks so much for being there. I really appreciate the time.
It's wonderful to be here, Joe. I love your enthusiasm, and I'm looking forward to connecting with your audience on this topic I'm passionate about. Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
communication, it's parenting, and it's catching them right in the pocket of those formative years. This what we do here now. You may remember Marcus Aurelius actually said this, but it's given to Maximus and Gladiator. What we do here echoes on into the eternity of time, and that's for sure with our kids at this age. Yeah.
Man, see, you were named correctly right there. So I figured you just before we came on, I'm in Huntsville, Alabama. If you guys know from listening to the show, sometimes we have a connection. Marcus was here, grew up a little bit here. His dad was an instructor. He went to
Yeah.
school out here. So, man, I figured your
Yeah.
dad was some sort of historian or something when he named you Marcus Aurelius. That's an awesome name.
He, he it was in California. He was driving to the hospital. I was about to be born, and he was listening to some tapes. And I believe it was Jim Rohn. I'm not for sure because Jim Rohn has this part where he's talking about responsibility and Marcus Aurelius. My dad was like, "Yeah, that guy, he said some awesome stuff. Let me name my child him." And it really has echoed on into the eternity of time. This can't see it there, but I keep a copy of Meditations with me.
Ah, there you go.
And it really has colored the work that I do. Definitely talking about character development at an early age. My goodness, I never thought about it, but even before I was born, the dots connect themselves when you look back, eh?
Yeah, he
My
set you on the
goodness.
path. Dad knew what he was doing.
Hey,
Hey, when you look back,
yeah,
hey, Pops knew what he was doing. Hey, let's tap into the preteen mind because it's a different beast,
sure.
that's for sure. So kind of walk me through
Yeah.
these cognitive and emotional changes they're going through that maybe the parents don't understand, but you can kind of make some sense of.
Beautiful, beautiful. I call it ICE, ICE. So these are the major challenge. Well, I was a high school English teacher, grade 12 and grade 9, and then I taught for some time in grade 5, but I've worked with kids all my life. And ICE. So a kid is dependent on his parents, 0 to 8, 8 to 10, and that's what they're doing. Their life is black and white based on what their parents are telling them. The natural order of things is for them to be independent. We know that any person with wisdom, right? You're supposed to break away to form your own identity. Now, as I put it, there's the maternal energy that keeps them close as you're loved, you're secure, um, you're supported. And then there's paternal energy. It's not really mother or father, but it's paternal energy. I call it that pushes them away.
Mhm.
That says you're loved, you're supported, you're secure. I need you to do this on your own, and I support you, right? When we go through that first breaking, a lot of kids don't know who they are. I mean, you were a kid, I was a kid, right? It's not that you don't know who you are, but you're figuring it out, right? A lot of parents, if they don't know what their kid's going to go through, they're not sure of how to deal with this, how to manage it. So the first I is identity breaking, right? And all of us are continually going through an identity breaking throughout our lives at all stages. The question is, who are you, right? The next one is C, collaborative trust. Collaborative trust. If my parents were telling me black and white, this is what the world is, and I start to see other stories or other perspectives where it's not that, kids don't know what nuance is.
Yeah.
Like it's not until 18 that they start to figure out, oh, this could be gray and this person is working in their values, but it's not what I agree with, and that's okay. However, they get skepticism at 12 years old. So if I know that I can't trust you fully and I'm not sure about this, or I feel judged when these expectations are put on me, again, that's another whirlwind of confusion in their head. That's collaborative trust. Third thing is emotional management. Emotional management.
Oh, that's a big one. That's a big one.
I mean, we're still dealing with this as adults, no?
Right.
Most of us. But emotions do five things, and one of them are they let you, they motivate you, or they move you towards what you desire, right? They also tell you an internal state of how you're feeling on the inside. They also let you connect with other people because as you're able to read their emotions, you can connect with them. You're a kid just starting out on the journey of life. You don't have emotional management skills. I mean, it needs to be developed. You do have it. It's a seed planted in you, but it needs to be brought forth. So those are the three things that kids are usually, these are the things that kids are dealing with. I mean, you could testify to that. I can too. It's your identity breaking. It's your collaborative trust of who to trust, trusting yourself and trusting others, and then your emotional management. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot in there right there. And I noticed that I was like, man, all of a sudden this dude has an opinion. I have an 18-year-old now. So when he started, like, wow, I used to just tell him stuff and he said, yes, yes, sir. Okay. Now he's like got an opinion, like what he wants to wear and where he wants to go. And I used to
Yeah.
just shave his head, right? Because I'm cheap and I would just, give him a buzz cut. And he's like,
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I don't want this. I want a real haircut. And I was like, oh man. So yeah, that age group is tough on parents because they're just used to just, hey, here's what I say, and you just go do it, right? That's it. And then
Yeah. Yeah.
part of the deal. It's part of the deal. That's how you grow up, how you become your own person. So it's great way this actually is not just your kid. It's everybody going through this.
So it's worth putting in there, Joe, right? Two things. I love how you said that. Um, don't take it personal. It's not just your kid. This is a natural order of things. And there's a second point. When I say there's a natural order of things, everything that grows um must must go through resistance.
Mm,
Everything that eventually grows must first break. That's how I say it. When you look at an egg, there's something growing from inside. It's all emergent, but does it break from the outside or does it break from the inside? If it breaks from the outside, there's death. If it breaks from the inside, there's life.
wow.
So when your kid is pushing back, it's not, again, it's not personal, it's not permanent, and it's not pervasive in all things. But rather than pushing back, it's a refinement. It's an understanding of who my identity is. It's a refinement of who understanding your identity. And I get to this later on in the conversation, we'll get to it. But you can have non-negotiables, you can have rules, you can also have respect for them to show up. Um, but the idea is for you to be a trustworthy present parent. So yeah. Yeah, expect that pushback and we deal with resistance. You do workouts, I do workouts, but you understand this is where growth is. Yeah.
I never heard that egg analogy, man. That's a really cool way to look at it. That
Hey,
where the
hey,
way it breaks from. That's cool. I'm over here taking notes, man. If you see me over here off camera, doing taking some notes. So
you're all good.
that was cool, man. I thought that's a good way to look at it as a parent. That uh, you can only push so far, right? So I mean, you work with the parents. Is there kind of, hey, getting back to the theme of it's not just my kid? Are there kind of three main things you see with most parents that are struggling with their kids?
Um, First off, I would say, ta- I say, well, every case is different. You
Sure.
know, in working with people, you understand context matters. If I would see a pattern, it would be taking the pushback as personal. It's not personal, but taking it as personal, or misinterpreting it and thinking that what am I doing? What's wrong with me? Sometimes it is, but I mean, I first want to get this out there. If you're parenting, you're doing the best you can with what you can. That's just the assumption I have about life. It's just that, and this is assumption I have about kids. Either you don't have support or you don't have skills. Go out and seek it. Hey, there is support there for those support. Life supports those who support life. So if you're making an honest effort for your kid, there's support there out for you. Okay. Another thing I would see is making space for your kids' expression. And in making space for your kids' expression, if it's in alignment with their well-being and with the community's well-being, celebrating it. Like celebrate it. Enthusiasm and zest. And when I know like, oh man, that's like me, you're reaffirming their identity. So when you see a kid in alignment with the well-being of themselves and with others, celebrate that, especially if they're expressing from their authentic self, nothing that they're forced to do.
Oh, that's it.
And last thing, put your oxygen mask on first. Um, the etymology or the root of the word parent means to bring forth, and you're asked to have energy for more than yourself. The way you eat, the way you move, the way you sleep, like when you dial that in, because at the end of the day, you're wanting to bring forth from your child, Is it you pulling or is it them pushing out? It's both, right? But it's not necessarily you pulling, it's you being there as a trustworthy parent because they may go waywardly, but you know you did your job when it's asked of you to be accountable for what you did. So put your oxygen mask on first, and nobody can ask for anything more, you know?
Wow. Yeah, those are good one right there. I mean, that's what you do is you help you build these skills and give them that support that maybe they didn't have. Because, like I said, if you're doing your best, but you don't have the skills, it's not your fault. You just don't know the skills. So that's where you come in and you play such a crucial role for these people. So, um, social media, it's a big deal, right? I'm sure this is something you see with a lot
Yeah.
of parents. How do you help these nurture these healthy identities amongst all the bad things that go on in social media?
Hey, so you see amongst these parents, I see this amongst myself. Eh?
Yeah.
Um, oh man. Well, first of all, let's set the context. When you understand that there are rooms of people who are paid hundreds and thousands of dollars to steal your attention, to make sure that you are glued to this screen, like the deck is stacked up against you. Could be, could be. So then how do we work against that environment? That's why two things come to mind, and and admittedly I need to dive deeper into the science of this, but I know what I set up for me and for my class and for what I do is it's with your identity of knowing what you want. And when I say that, it's having conversations about critical thinking and what is it that you want in life, and are these behaviors going to get you there, right? It's addictive. Like it is addictive. And in the same way sugar is addictive, but then when you have that conversation around sugar, sugar feels good, don't get me wrong, right? But the question is like, what do you want? And are these behaviors going to get you there? And I'm willing to support you in that. It comes down to collaborative problem solving, which is one of the steps inside my framework we could get to later on. But you're helping them think through that. So what I just said is having that conversation so it's coming up from inside the kid, right? But then two, it's rules, regulations. Anything that grows, there are three types of stressors. There's a stressing of just maintaining, there's a stressor of expanding, and there's a stressor that just blindsides you out of the blue, hits you, you weren't expecting it. But if you want to expand, you you need to direct your attention and energy, your limited sources. So that means rules. And there are rules that your house sets up. There are rules that as an individual you self-regulate. You have self-rules. So be again that moral exemplar or that trustworthy present parent, as well as setting rules for the house to say people like us do things like this. That's family culture. That's family culture. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. We set family culture in our house. And one of them just hey,
Yeah.
Martins don't give up. That's just what we say. We don't give up. It's gonna you set that tone and you're gonna get that in your kids' heads that hey, we don't not because we don't give up because something's hard or something like that. You just don't give up. So uh
Yeah.
that, that's great
Yeah.
advice. And I liked how you talked about
And
earlier about how just if they're into it, you better love it too. That's what I've seen
hey,
with my
that
son.
enthusiasm.
Yeah,
Go
because
on, go on, go on. Yeah.
I don't like Minecraft, but you know what? If he likes it, I love it, right? So I mean, that's just some advice I took from an old parent over here. Like it may not be, it doesn't have to be your thing. Most of the time, it won't be like Pokemon or something like that. But you better learn to like it, right? So I want to kind of get into that the next question. I'm sorry, did you have a point?
Well, let me put a pin on that. Let me put a pin on that. Um, let me ask you, what were your hobbies growing up, real quick?
Mainly sports, play some video games,
Sports?
just being outside,
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
things
So,
like that.
so even if your mother wasn't into sports or anything, and it's your thing, we need to connect on common ground and something that's really relevant for you. Now, principles are all the same. Like I'm talking about growth principles, I'm talking about communication principles, but I need to put it inside a framework that you understand. So when I ask you about your interests and when we start talking about that, then I can put principles on that interest. And that gives us a common ground for us to connect. Again, they're going to be wanting to go away, but where's the common ground on which we could connect? And you know what? I could speak about Minecraft and Steve and Ender Game and talk about growth principles with my students. I don't play Minecraft, but I know that common ground where we can connect.
Yeah, that's it. You can find that common ground. So it kind of gets into my next. Well, you may have answered some of it, but uh, especially for dads around that age, that's when the kids are they're kind of getting where, hey, I'm getting ready to leave house. I'm getting to jump out of the nest. Especially with dad, moms they tend to stay a little bit closer, but dad kind of gets pushed away out there. How can dads kind of keep those bonds going as they get to this age group?
Beautiful question. Beautiful question. Even before we jump into that, one thing that I was noticing, so I was thinking about this, and I'm gonna get to your question. I heard it, Joe. But they were noticing divorced parents. Oftentimes the kids gravitate to the mother,
Mm,
and oftentimes the father is being left inside that epidemic of loneliness that we're experiencing as men, right?
sure.
Um, I would say it I think the disconnect inside our society, the developed world, is without tuning into our emotions. Some people, I am a practicing Stoic. Some people think that it's the absence of emotions. That's not true. Rather, it's learning to have the emotions work for you.
Mm,
And emotions are an expression, and making space for those, as well as understanding somebody. It's okay to to experience what you're going through. It's telling us something about your belief system, and let's communicate about that belief system. Um, Now, specifically to dads, when I say being a trustworthy present parent, um, be authentically you, and in a sense, it is distancing and it is supporting them. However, that's not their final form, like Pokemon. It's interdependence, and what interdependence looks like is I take care of me to be in service to you. You promise to take care of you to be in service of me, and it's we are separated. I don't want to say it's a friendship on the other end of parenting. However, yeah, that's what some fathers have told me, in that breaking away stage when your son comes back or when your daughter comes back. It's a new dynamic of the relationship of, oh yeah, they're out in the world doing their thing, and then the grandkids come in. But it's a evolution of the relationship, but you need to be steadfast there, being assured of your word, and again, celebrating them, having that enthusiasm for them, the joy of their life. When they go waywardly, have that conversation, that small s stoic, like, okay, I understand it, but you're present. You're present with them. Um, does that satisfy or yeah,
Yeah, that's it. I think for a lot of it, it's just you can get caught up in the emotions of it and just forget,
yeah,
what
yeah,
their perspective
yeah.
looks like. So I think that a lot of that time you just, you're just thinking about yourself. I want this, I want this relationship this way. I want it in this box, and he's in a whole another box. So I think it's tough as
And,
you get older. I've got an 18-year-old man. He's about to leave home, go 18 hours away to college, and I'm going through some things, man. Not gonna lie.
I will also acknowledge um, when you're trying to keep your stuff together and you have this wayward, dysregulated kid pushing against you, creating all this stuff, and that's a very real, valid. I get it. I don't want to ignore that. You know what I mean? Because that's what a lot of dads are going through,
Yeah,
trying to keep it together, trying to keep a family together, trying to keep your own head together, and you have this one bothering you. That's when we do our um our, our our framework, yes, but then also our other communication with yourself. The quality of your communication is directly related to the quality of your life. And
mm,
that means talking to others as well as talking to yourself. So how do we find that balance of I'm trying to meet my kid here and then hey, they are being independent and I need to give them that space because I need to meet my needs. You
yeah,
know, that's a hard balance to meet.
that's it.
And I
Yeah,
want to acknowledge that. Yeah.
yeah, you want the win-win, right? That's what you're looking for there. You don't have to leave yourself behind to be a good parent. So, you
Hey,
kind of touched on a little bit. You kind of tell people about your show up framework that you help these parents with.
okay. So show up. Beautiful phrasal verb there. Show up. Yeah. S is start with strong character identity. All behavior comes from identity. People like us do things like this. Um, and when I say that, there are these 24 character strengths by VIA. Have you heard of this? Virtues in Action.
Yes.
All right. So virtues in action, they're found in all religions, all cultures, all societies, all groups of people. Um, and when you look at these 24 character strengths, these are actually what bind us together as a community. They're what bind us together as a person. We have five that are expressed, but all of five that are expressed strongly, but all of these are always with us. And when I'm having conversations with my students in class, I'm speaking in terms of character strengths. The excess of them, the deficiency of them, and then that virtuous mean, that that's getting it right at the point. To give you an example, like comedy, right? Humor is a character strength. Sometimes, yeah, you bring levity to the group, you bring a smile or whatever. Other times it's, hey, we need to be on task, and I know your character strength is humor, but can we just dial that back a little bit right now? Like, thank you for the joy you're bringing, but let's focus. Um, so start with a strong character identity. H is hold space for collaboration. They don't know who to trust.
Mm.
Now, oftentimes when a kid's world is falling to pieces, they're thinking, what's wrong with me? Any of us, even as a father, like when your house is falling down, what's wrong with me? Collaborative problem solving is actually you're inviting them into the conversation to say, hey, look, I see you struggling with this. First, the assumption is nothing's wrong with the kid, but rather they're not supported, they don't have the skills. So we're about to suss this out together, right? You invite them into the conversation saying, hey, I see you're having a problem with this. Even is it a problem for you? You know? And then you share your points and ideas on it as to how it feeds into either well-being for themselves or well-being for the community. And then you come to not compromise, but it's an agreement that both of us can a solution that both of us can agree upon, right? And what it does is it validates their ideas, their thoughts, and then it brings them into the solution and it gets them critically thinking about it, right? So that's SH. O is opening up communication. And there are different frameworks on which we have of bringing people to the table so that they know they can share what they're going through. Um, and then the W is wonder and explore this world together. That is, I'm working on my projects, you're working on your projects. Healthy people have projects. Could be a sport, could be a language, could be their academics, could be a business that they want to start. But bringing the elements of a growth mindset by working on a project, and you as a parent, you're working on your own project. Again, it gives you common ground to talk about. And then that's how you unveil your potential. So you and your child are spiraling up together, and then let them go off, be the team that they are, the awesome team that they are, and you be the parent of adult children that you can be proud of. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, man. I like it within that how you're talking about passing on values without being preachy. I think that's what a lot of us we love to do the preachy version of it, but you can also pass those values on. How do you get people to come around to that passing those values on without sounding all preachy?
Hey, watch it now, watch it now. So you never convince a person from the outside in. You always convince them from the inside out, and that's by creating the environment and then fertilizing the seeds of that idea. Now, that's very metaphorical. What that looks like in action, there there are three different models. I'm going to share with you one that off the top of my head, but one of them is telling your story. It's the first language we learn as humans. Storytelling is simply change happens, and I give it meaning. Now, you have values in yourself, Joe, and you've come to realize those values. And all values are is what's important to you, right?
Yeah.
And if it's important to you that we don't give up, you've come to that value through effort, I'm sure, because you've realized a sense of glory on the other side or proudness, or by saying, yeah, yeah, we don't give up, and this is important to me. Now, if your son gave up, again, no judgment on it, because they're learning how to live life, and life is life, and but you would share that story with them. You would say what it means to you, the meaning, and then you invite them into the conversation. I love that last part because it oftentimes gives you a perspective that you didn't even see, that you didn't even understand. And they're putting it in their own words, so they're internalizing it. Um, so that shows you how you're living your values. And you're not saying you have to believe this, but you're saying this is important to me. And if you're going to be around me and I'm a person of character, well, you know what my values are. And then we do have family values. And that's how you do it without being preaching.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
the storytelling version, man. That's perfect. That's
A
facts tell, but stories sell, right? People, that's how we learn, So, and
yeah,
I've
yeah,
started,
yeah.
when I started sharing my struggles with my son, not just, hey, here's how I never gave up. When I told him about times I did give up and what happened, I mean that really drives home when you're not
Yep.
trying to play the superhero dad, which I was that guy too. I try to tell him about how good I was back in the day with sports and stuff. He don't care,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
When I talked about how bad I was or I struggled at this sport, like that's when he leans in, and really pays attention.
Yep. Yep, yep. I mean, because that's what it is in a story. You see them with their bumps, their bruises. Every hero has scars, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to that point, share your wounds, not your scars. And what
Uh,
I mean by that is, some parents they're going through stuff. And I get it. We're going through stuff. This is wisdom talking. We're going through life. You don't have to share that thing that you're dealing with at the moment, but you can share the other scars that have healed. And it's just like every scar has a story. That's another line we have. So share your scars, not your wounds. Yeah.
man. Yeah, you're like Yoda, man. I mean, you're over here dropping nuggets left and right over here. So, man, you're
Hey.
brilliant, and I love what you're doing out there. That we talked about at the beginning. But well, we need these skills and these ways to help the kids that we want to help so bad. We just don't know how to do it sometimes. So people like yourself who are out there doing it, so important, man. You're a brilliant guy too. I learned a ton. I got notes over here. I can't even read my own handwriting, but I got notes. But Marcus,
We'll watch a podcast again.
well, thanks for coming on, man. How can people follow you and keep up with the work that you're doing?
Go to marcushiggs.com. You'll see briefly what I do. If you want to reach out, you can reach through the contact page there. I have a workshop coming up on creating family values. I'll put the link there on my page, marcushiggs.com. And other than that, reach out on LinkedIn. I'm not too much on other social media pages. You'll find me there, but no, LinkedIn or marcushiggs.com.
Okay. Man, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll link those in show notes. Make sure people go right to the website and the LinkedIn profile. And I saw an awesome post you did about today about diversity on LinkedIn. People need to check that one out. I
Hey,
got a lot out of that one. Man, appreciate you. And if you're
cheers.
listening right now, please share this episode. Marcus is helping so many people out there. He can provide you with those skills and support that you need as a parent. That hey, it didn't come with a book. When that kid did not come with a book, so he's done the work, he's done the research, he's there to support you and help you however he can. So check out his website and his LinkedIn profile. And Marcus, keep up the great work, man. I really appreciate what you're doing.
Cheers, Joe. Thank you for the platform.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you were great, man. So, hey, thanks for listening to Relentless Pod G Podcast. We'll see you guys next week. Wow, what a great episode. You just share that with somebody. I'm going to share with you some awesome sponsors. McWilliams Marketing. They can help your business grow. Regardless of the size of the project, you're going to get a solution that is specifically created for you and your business. No cookie cutter, one size fits approach here. So Amy and her band of fearless marketers can help you with all that stuff that you think you can do, but you're not really that good at it. You don't have time for it. They can do that. They're the experts. It's what they do. Web design, online conversion optimization, SEO, graphic design, marketing, page management, all that stuff. Go let them do that. Don't handle that yourself. Go check them out at mcwilliamsmarketing.com. See what all they can do. They're amazing people. Teak Patnick with Patnick Realty. He really does it all in the real estate world. General real estate sales, acquisitions, property management, investments, all that good stuff. You're not just a transaction with Teak. He really wants to build a relationship for life with you. He has built his whole business on prayer, hard work ethic, honesty, and results. You can trust Patnick Realty with all your real estate needs. Hey, I trust my brother from another mother, Teak, and you should too. Give him a call, 256-694-0117, or email him at teak@patnickco.com. Hey, these are awesome businesses. Go support them. They're out supporting positivity, and they will do you right. Have an awesome day.